next topic, which we're getting into another video game adaptation because it seems like every week we're talking about another
A
video
video game,
game
yeah.
adaptation. Yeah. So Dead by Daylight. So if you're not familiar with Dead by Daylight, it's David, have you played Dead by Daylight before by chance?
I haven't. I have seen a few people play it. To my understanding, it's a co-op game where you play
Yeah.
with people on one team trying to survive the overpowered villain of Jason. Is that correct?
Yeah, so you're essentially like what's cool is they've brought in a bunch of different villains across pop culture. Like I'm pretty sure Ghostface was in there. Vecna was actually in there recently.
Oh,
So
okay.
they've
So they kind of interchange. That's
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, they give you a bunch of different horror villains to choose from. And yeah, it's essentially just like you and three other players are you're kind of in like a boxed zone and you're trying to gather resources to refill like a generator and you have to refill all three generators to be able to get out and escape. But while you're trying to refill the generators, you're trying to evade and escape the killer that's trying to hunt you down. Very like it's a very cut and dry simple concept. And to think that we're getting this is a movie, yeah, a movie with this. I think you can have lots of options to go about with that film because you have such an open kind of canvas. Because it's not like a set narrative. Like this isn't like a Last of Us. This isn't a Fallout. This isn't like a set narrative within a certain franchise. This is kind of its own thing, and it's um, not too many things that they have to follow. But Dead by Daylight movie adaptation lands The Conjuring Crawl combo as writers. So yeah, Blumhouse and Atomic Monster are attached to this. So Blumhouse, Jason Blum, he's been in the horror game for a long time, and he's usually pretty smart in choosing his films to go with. Atomic Monster, that's James Wan, which James Wan has done many horror films like the Conjurings. He did the Insidiouses. He did Aquaman. He did the first Aquaman, which I love. That first Aquaman. It was great. Aquaman 2,
Mhm.
it was booty. So, Scary Movie Maker, Blumhouse, Atomic Monster, and Canadian gaming studio Behavior Interactive have tapped David Leslie Johnson, McGoldrick, and Alexandre Aja to pen the feature adaptation of Dead by Daylight, Behavior's hit horror multiplayer game. So I did a little research on Alexandre Aja, and he hasn't done that many great things in terms of like I mean like he's created films like that's probably more things that I'll ever do, but
Great in and of itself.
great in and of itself exactly. And kind of same thing with David Leslie Johnson. He's they've been attached to certain things, but nothing that has been really like booming.
Okay.
So that kind of I mean it kind of has me worried, but I don't know if I'd say worried. Just we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, with
Every
yeah,
Yeah, just every opportunity that people have to, if they're directing, they're hopefully you'd think they're improving upon
yeah,
previous mistakes and previous films that they've made. I can only imagine the amount that you would learn from directing a movie and working on certain projects, and you're taking all that experience to an existing IP like with Dead by Daylight that uses other IP, but like the game itself. And it's also interesting in the similar way as terms of Minecraft. Minecraft, there is a like story mode in Minecraft
hmm
that somewhat follows a narrative, but it's nothing like The Last of Us or Fallout. Um,
yeah,
but Dead by Daylight is like pure cooperative game where the replayability and what makes the game interesting is the community surrounding it, which is a little similar to Minecraft, but Minecraft is somewhat more solo based, but there are a lot of community aspects with it. So it's really interesting to see that like a purely co-op based game with that makes the game fun is the community surrounding it, is getting a movie.
hmm
And with all the video game adaptations that we're seeing, I mean, just, again, like we're saying, like every week It seems like we're getting another video game adaptation,
Yeah,
and, we still got big directors, with stuff down the pipeline. Zach Cregger's working on Resident Evil,
dude. Because
you
so
know?
I've actually just dove into Resident Evil. I started playing Resident Evil 4, and it's great. It's the story is pretty solid so far, but the experience of it has been fantastic. And to
Yeah, I've
think
seen people play it. It's really cool.
it is really cool.
I would never play it myself. I
No,
struggle with horror games, but
honestly, so Resident Evil 4 is I think it's a great balance of action and horror. Like me, I would honestly consider myself pretty much of a scaredy cat, but playing Resident Evil 4, like you'll be fine. And the gameplay of it is really easy to follow too. So it's not difficult. Like you craft some stuff, you have to
Mhm.
manage your inventory, but it's not monotonous or tedious or annoying. It's done in a very well way. But yeah, like you said, Zach Kreger coming out with that stuff.
Yeah, so, um, this
Yeah,
is,
Nick Cage
uh
actually was in this game.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Dead by Daylight has used a ton of other IP for their game to make their game more interesting. So I'm really curious to see, like you said, it's a really open canvas to what the creators of this film would do. Now, thinking about like what makes the game fun? What makes the game fun is playing with friends, and probably the mechanics of the game are interesting, horror aspects. So if I'm thinking about how people feel while playing the game, I would probably try to elicit the same feeling when someone is watching the movie.
Mm.
Maybe certain feelings, not like all feelings. Obviously, like maybe not like a funny moment, or
Yeah, every
maybe
now and then.
even a funny moment. So if I was like doing research on how I would try to craft a story for this, I probably try to talk to the gamers and watch a lot of people play, and how are they reacting? How are they enjoying the game? And
Right.
can I take any of those elements and plug them into the movie? Because this is again purely cooperative, and there's some mechanics and elements of it, but what makes it is playing with other people. So because of this, like if this does really well, I think it's only going to be a matter of time for we see like even bigger video game cooperative game IP like be made in a movie. I think it's only a matter of time before we get an Among Us movie. I think it's
Yeah.
only
I'm really surprised we haven't gotten Among Us movie yet.
yeah, I
That's
think it's
really surprising.
only a matter of time before we get an Among Us movie, or maybe even probably Fortnite movie, Apex Legends. I mean, I think those kind of um, I mean cooperative games, or MOBAs. We technically got a MOBA, a multiplayer online battle arena game
Mhm.
with as a production for a TV show. It was Arcane, League of Legends.
Oh,
But
Arcane, man, so good.
like that's so good. Like the video game adaptations that have come out in the last 5 years have been absolutely bangers. And I don't think before 5 years ago we could really say that honestly. I
Absolutely
really don't.
not.
Yeah.
There was a period of time where every time I mean, it was a truism in life where a video game adaptation would be announced and you would just get get the burial plot ready because it was going straight in there.
It's so true. It's so
Yeah.
true. And it's so sad. And I think I wonder Arcane might have been the catalyst that like put it over the edge, at least
Yeah.
because
Yeah, it
the first
seems
season came out in 21, right?
I wanna say it's close to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. Like you said, I'm really excited to see the creative direction for this because there's a lot of different things you could do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you brought up some excellent points with that. There's so many different avenues because the canvas is open. There's not a set narrative with this story, at least as far as I'm aware of. It's just you're just kind of with four friends and you're just trying to escape a certain period or a certain area. And with killers trying to get you, it honestly, in a sense, kind of sounds like just another slasher film.
Mhm.
Which kind of like when I was thinking about another film, because even though we have gotten lots of fantastic video game adaptations like A Last of Us, like Fallout, like the Sonic movies, there have been some misses in there. I think with the film Until Dawn, which came out, I want to say early
Yes, I
last
was literally as like it was in my brain. I was
year.
thinking it before you said it.
Yeah. Until Dawn, it's like before it came out, the trailers came out, and I was like, well, I know it's not like the game, which that's fine. I think that is a cool thing to do, to take some liberties and not do a full adaptation, because I think what makes a great adaptation is, taking the original material and just picking your spots where to change it, not changing the whole thing. And it could be depending on the material. Like I think the way they do Last of Us is just beautiful. They kind of
Yeah,
pick their spots, which they want to extend, which they want to shorten, because you transition a video game to a film, completely different medium. The way you
yeah.
experience it is totally different,
Mhm.
even though they're both rooted in narrative. But with something like Until Dawn, as far as I know, I didn't see it, but I know the reviews weren't. It wasn't received well, and it just kind of died on arrival. And
Mhm.
after it came out, no one talked about it.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I think from what I remember, it was reviewed decently. But again, like, but I mean, but that's like one in every five, the recent or game adaptations we've got. That's bad. So for the most part, they're batting, a lot. They're doing some good work, and hopefully with Dead by Daylight, we can get something like that. So yeah, David, you got any final thoughts? Dead by Daylight coming.
Yeah, I it's interesting because when I think about Until Dawn, I really loved Until Dawn playing the game. And what made it so interesting was the core mechanic of the game, which was called the butterfly effect, where there
Yeah.
were so many different endings, so many different pathways that the characters could go on, which is the core opposite of a movie. It is one story from start to finish. And yes, there are like different storylines in between, but like you have to pick one and you have to pick where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So I think doing Until Dawn in that way, simply because the core mechanic was so focused on the multiple endings, like made probably people like react kind of poorly when they realized, oh, it's the movie is just like they're just picking one direction for this to go.
Right.
Like they're not they weren't thinking outside the box enough of the core mechanic of the game itself.
Hmm.
Could they have had multiple endings in the movie? I don't know.
Would have been
You know?
interesting to do.
Right, interesting to do. So with this Dead by Daylight adaptation, can they take core things that players love about the game and inject those feelings into the movie, like, without what you said, making it just another slasher film, which is kind of what Until Dawn probably felt like,
Right.
you know? Because of it has the video game IP, are they just like, "Oh, we're just gonna make a slasher film, and because it has the video game and 60 million players, we're going to, like, make a ton of money." Are they
Yeah.
thinking that, or are they gonna be maybe more intentional and creative and try to differentiate themselves in that way other than just having the title?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Lots
interesting
of
to see.
Very interesting to see. Yeah, we brought up lots of cool stuff. So let us know, guys, what you think of an not Until Dawn, of Dead by Daylight coming out probably sometime in the next few years. And curious to see how that shakes out.